Alfa Romeo and BMW, two very evocative brands with history, heritage and a reputation for making sporty cars that are fun to drive. But they're two very different companies. BMW sell 2 million cars a year, whereas Alfa Romeo sell just 25,000 globally. Which makes it impressive that Alfa is still in this game. Yes, it's part of the wider Stellantis group of brands, but Alfa is still very much a minnow compared with BMW. And this is the new Alfa Romeo Tonale, a compact premium SUV that's going head-to-head with the latest BMW X1. The Alfa Romeo is stylish, suave and beautifully designed, and it's got Alfa Romeo signature styling details. For example, the telephone dial style alloy wheels, the distinctive front bumper and the offset number plate. The X1, meanwhile, might be less immediately striking, but we reckon it's pretty handsome and certainly a lot less controversial looking than some of BMW's other recent efforts. For this test, we're putting the Tonale Ti up against the mid-spec X-Line version of the BMW X1 xDrive 23i, and it comes in at about £38,000 and the Alfa Romeo about £40,000. The Tonale is front-wheel drive with 160 horsepower from its 1.5-litre turbocharged mild hybrid petrol engine and can get to 60 in 8.8 seconds. While the BMW is somewhat faster, getting to 60 in 7.1 seconds, it offers four-wheel drive in this spec too. If that sounds like an unfair comparison, it's worth noting that the Alfa Romeo is better equipped as standard. It has dual-zone climate control, adaptive cruise control, keyless entry, wireless phone charging, reversing camera and matrix LED headlights. To get most of that stuff in the BMW, you'll have to fork out £2,750 for the Technology Plus pack and another £1,500 for the Driving Assistant Plus pack. The BMW leads the way with boot space with 540 litres of capacity. The Alfa Romeo is not that far behind, and both have decent underfloor storage, which is very, very useful. There's the Alfa Romeos, and now I'm going to show you the BMWs, which is just under here. And thanks to the raked rear screen, the BMW is the winner when it comes to maximum load lugging capacity. What's more, the X1 offers sliding and reclining rear seats that move in two parts, making it even more flexible when you're juggling rear seat occupants and luggage space. Talking of rear seat occupants, the BMW X1 is pretty much top of the class in this respect, with plenty of headroom and legroom. But hey, the Alfa Romeo is perfectly acceptable, though taller occupants might just feel a touch restricted. Up front, the Alfa is suitably stylish. There's a good-looking steering wheel, this cowled instrument cluster, a dashboard that's focused at the driver, and this raised centre console helps to give it a really driver-focused cockpit feel. And there's plenty of soft-touch materials around the cabin. The easy-to-use physical climate control buttons are a genuine plus too, but the central touchscreen itself is a little confusing to use, with icons that are often too small, whether you're using the native software or Apple CarPlay. It's clear and high-res though, and there's very little lag. Switching over to the BMW after the Alfa Romeo, you instantly notice the step up in quality. In the Tonale, it's easy to find expensive surfaces, but there are some places where it looks like they're cutting corners. In the BMW, however, it's difficult to find any inexpensive surfaces. They all look fantastic quality. The infotainment system in the BMW is also much more impressive. It's easier to understand and easier to navigate. BMW has ditched its old iDrive rotary controller though, and there are no physical buttons for the climate control. What are you doing, BMW? On first impressions, the X1 feels impressively solid. Every control, from the steering to the brakes, feels engineered for a positive feel. So far so good, BMW, and indeed when it comes to corners, the X1 turns in with real aplomb. It settles in with very little body roll and plenty of grip. Less impressive is the gearbox. The 7-speed twin-clutch automatic is rather dithery, and you're not too sure what sort of response you're going to get when you put your foot on the throttle, which is a little frustrating. What's even worse is that unless you go for the M Sport model, where you can sort the gears out yourself using the steering wheel paddles, you have no control over this whatsoever. The engine itself is lively enough once the car decides what gear to be in, and the extra 19 horsepower electric boost from the mild hybrid tech really helps hustle the X1 along. It is a touch buzzy sounding at higher revs though. We suspect the more muscular punch of the diesel or the effortless all-electric power of the iX1 will suit this car better. Settling down for a long motorway journey is this car's forte. It is smooth, quiet and stable, and you should get close to around 40 miles per gallon. Official fuel economy figures say that 42.8 is possible, but it's unlikely you'll get it quite that good. The seats on this car, meanwhile, are magnificently comfortable. They're part of the £1,000 comfort pack, true, but are very much worth it, we reckon. The Tonale is a lot less relaxed in its road manners than the X1, and the quick steering feels darty, almost nervous. But then that's how Alfas should feel, keeping you on your toes. There's plenty of grip and very little body roll, and as long as you don't expect a pillow soft ride, the suspension does a decent enough job of dealing with bumps, potholes and rough surfaces. The seats aren't quite as impressive as those in the BMW, mind you, but they're still not bad. The engine and gearbox are a bit of a disappointment though. With only 160 horsepower to call upon, it feels underpowered, and the throttle feels sluggish when the DNA driving mode switch is in N for normal. Switch it into D and it perks up a lot and changes down gears enthusiastically for corners. And when you really wring its neck, the Tonale kind of comes alive. There is a spark of the old Alfa magic in the mix after all. The downside of this is that you can hear the engine more and it doesn't sound great. The fact it can pull away in electric only mode though is impressive for a mild hybrid and definitely helps with fuel economy. And for all its drivetrain flaws, when it comes to how much you'll have to spend at the petrol station, the Tonale is actually pretty impressive. Officially, it beats the X1 xDrive 2.3i by about 4 miles per gallon, with an official combined WLTP fuel economy figure of 47.1 miles per gallon. In the real world, there's not much to choose between them, though perhaps the Alfa is a tiny bit more likely to finish a journey with an MPG figure that starts with a 4. This isn't as easy a win as you might expect for the BMW. Without the expensive Technology Plus pack, it's not as well equipped as the Tonale. And with it, it's more expensive. And the Tonale does have an interior design which is very stylish, and it's also very user-friendly, apart from the small fiddly touchscreen icons. On the road, it's the BMW that feels the more accomplished and sophisticated of the two, even though it's not without its flaws. The Alfa is fun on the right road and when you're in the right mood, but it feels rough around the edges at times, and the engine is a little underpowered. The kickers, though, are space and a sense of luxury. The BMW has more space for both luggage and passengers, and the interior quality and how well it's put together is just a cut above. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're considering buying a BMW X1, an Alfa Romeo Tonale, or indeed any car, head to cargurus.co.uk to find loads of great cars for sale from top-rated dealers, and with our super clever pricing technology, we'll even tell you whether it's a good deal or not.